Hey you guys, so I'm gonna kind of break down my experience before I actually went to MEPS because that was the part that took the longest for me. First, before you even go to MEPS, you fill out this form. It's called a DD 28072 form. This form is where you put all of your medical history, whether you've had asthma, whether you have eye problems, whether you had a broken leg when you were a kid. Anything that has happened to you medically, you have to put on this form. If you have a clean slate, then you have nothing to worry about. You put no on everything and you should go to MEPS pretty quick. The problem is the people that mark yes on certain questions, that's when the doctor reviews it and flags it and then asks the applicant to provide any documentation to supplement that application, that 28072 form. So in my case, I'm going to share my experience. Every experience is going to be different, but I mean, hopefully this helps you kind of get ahead of the curve. I already knew that I needed to provide documentation with my situation because I had 2 surgeries in the past. I had a knee surgery and I had a breast augmentation surgery. So again, the doctor receives it, and when a doctor receives it, you never know how long it's going to take for them to review it. It can take days, it can take weeks, it could take months, depending on where you are and what MEP station you're at. I mean, every MEP station I think only has one doctor, and that same doctor does all the physicals as well as reviews all the paperwork. So it could take a long time, which in my case it did. And when they finally saw my paperwork, they flagged it and they said that you need to provide this and this. I went ahead and spoke to my doctors. Even though my surgeries were a long time ago, I'm like, look, I need everything you have on my surgeries. And this is what MEPS asks you for. They ask you for pre-op, post-op, a consultation note, pretty much the consultation that you had with your doctor as to why you had to have the surgery, what the plan was, blah blah blah. In that consultation note, it also has your medical history, so just keep in mind that if in your medical history, in your consultation note, it has anything like asthma or whatever, you have to also provide paperwork for that as well. But let's just say you have like no medical history and you just had the surgeries, like in my case, they just wanted me to provide that, the pre-op, post-op, consultation note, and the most important thing that MEPS will ask you for is the clearance letter. It was a while since I've had these surgeries, so I had to call my doctors and ask for them to write a note, which in most cases, if you explain your situation, you explain that you're going to the military and that you need this paperwork to be able to proceed, they will write it for you. You might have to visit them again, but they will write one for you. And the most important thing that you have to write, that they have to write, is the fact that there are no restrictions, that you are completely cleared to proceed with all activities. The military doesn't want to be liable for anything other than that. It's pretty black and white. It has to have like no restrictions and things like that. If you have something along the lines of like can't proceed with regular activities within the next 2 weeks and there's no follow-up after that saying you're cleared, then you're gonna probably have to go back and get a clearance. If there's something along the lines of like may proceed with regular activities as tolerated, that's also a no-go because, like I said, the MEPS looks for black and white, cleared, ready to go, no restrictions, plain and simple. So instead of waiting for MEPS to tell me that I needed that paperwork, I kind of already knew. So I went ahead and while I was waiting for the MEPS read to happen, I went and got all of this paperwork and made sure that I wasn't missing a thing. Again, pre-op, post-op, consultation note, and most importantly, a clearance letter. Every MEP station is different. They might ask for something else, but you just got to make sure that you're on top of your game and asking your doctors for this paperwork, because that is the #1 thing that's going to get you to actually go to the physical. Their goal is for you to get to the MEPS physical and not have anything pending, and make sure that you don't need any waivers, make sure that you are completely good to pass. They want you to, I mean, obviously, you know, some places don't want you to pass or whatever, but as long as you have everything to back up everything that you have in regards to your medical history, then you should be good to go. So that's what I would recommend. I would try to get all your paperwork before the doctor even flags it. In my case, I think it took over 90 days for them to review my paperwork, and it's very important that you know that if you already filled out your DD form 2807 form, which is the pre-screen paperwork, and it's been over 90 days, you're going to have to fill that out again if the date has already expired, if it's already been over the 90 days, because I had to do that. They said that I couldn't go to MEPS. I was scheduled to go to MEPS, but they said I couldn't go to MEPS because my paperwork expired literally the Friday before I went, and I was scheduled to go on Tuesday. So I had to fill that out again, and then you have to wait to have them review it, and that's what took the longest for me. Pretty much just having them review everything, making sure that all my documentation is there and that I was good to go. When I got to MEPS, like I said, I've had these surgeries, but I was cleared with like 100% okay because number one, I had these documents and I didn't need a waiver. So if you're trying to avoid a waiver or you're trying to avoid any delays in your process, I would totally recommend just going that route and just not waiting for them to tell you anything. Just take initiative and be proactive and get all the documentation that you need to support your medical history. A lot of people, this is the worst part for a lot of people, including me. It's just the waiting game before going to MEPS and the waiting game for the waivers for people after they get to MEPS. If, for example, you get to MEPS and you need a waiver for your eyesight, I think that could have been resolved if you would have had proper documentation beforehand to kind of just avoid the whole thing. So I just kind of wanted to share that with you, and I hope this helps because, like I said, this is the suckiest part. And after you do your physical and after you pass, you enlist, and like everything's like just super fast, and now I'm just waiting to ship out right now. So I also wanted to add that your recruiters get a spreadsheet every single day stating who's in the process, who is requiring paperwork, like they kind of mark it in red, and then who is okay to go. So your recruiters get this email every single day, and it's important for you to make sure you follow up with them as well, because they also have a lot of applicants that they're trying to process, and it's important that you take the initiative to follow up with your recruiter and not just let them do the work, because although they are supposed to do the work, it's also your responsibility to see where you're standing and kind of just defend yourself and speak up for yourself, because I just had someone comment on one of my videos saying that they've been waiting for like I think 7 months, and I told them to push them and to ask them, and it happened that the recruiter didn't even turn in any paperwork. And I mean, I'm not calling out on recruiters because I think that they're awesome. I think they're doing an amazing job trying to pick the best candidates for the military, but some things do get lost, and you just gotta just make sure that you're persistent, and you also just have to have patience, because it is a long process and it is so easy to get discouraged. But if this is something that you really want, like I do, just be patient and don't get discouraged. And if they ask for more paperwork, just get it to them and just be patient, because I felt like it was never ending in my case. And then I went to MEPS and it happened, and I signed up and I'm good to go. So if you guys have any questions, please comment below. I'll be more than happy to answer them. I really want to try to help anyone who's going through the process that has questions, because I know that when I was looking for answers on YouTube or on blogs, I really relied on those people to help me kind of keep pushing forward. So yeah, like this video, and I will see you next time.